Have you ever looked at your door lock and thought about upgrading it, but then kind of got intimidated by the whole idea? Well, you're in the right place. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how to install a new lock step by step. Let's jump right in. So you're standing there looking at your front door and thinking, hey, I bet I could do that, right? Well, guess what? You absolutely can. With the right game plan and a little bit of care, this is a project you can for sure tackle on your own. All right, first things first, before we even think about picking up a drill, let's cover the why and the what. Why are we doing this and what do we need to get it done? This is all about setting ourselves up for success. Installing a new lock isn't just for that extra peace of mind. A lot of the time, it's actually a necessity. Many lock suppliers will require that you pick one that meets certain security standards. And hey, your home insurance policy might even demand the same thing. And here's what you'll need. As you can see, it's nothing too crazy. The absolute essentials are a drill with what's called a hole saw, a basic screwdriver set, and of course, a tape measure and pencil. You might also want to have a chisel handy if you're going for that super clean professional finish. Okay, now we're getting to what is, without a doubt, the most critical part of this whole job. You've heard that old saying, measure twice, cut once, right? Well, it has never been more true than it is right now. If we get the measurements right, the rest of this is going to be a total breeze. So, our very first move is super simple, but it is so important. We've got to find the absolute perfect spot for the lock and make a nice, clear X. This little mark, it's going to be the center of our entire operation. So where exactly is that perfect spot? Well, the industry standard, the magic number you need to remember, is 36 inches. That's about 91 centimeters from the floor, right to the center of where the lock will be. That's our starting point. Now for a few more details on marking. If you're also putting in a deadbolt, you'll want to aim for about 6 to 12 inches above the handle. And here's a huge pro tip. Don't you dare throw away that little paper template that comes in the box. It is your absolute best friend for marking the exact drill points on both the face of the door and the edge. Okay, pencils down, it is officially drill time. This is the part that can feel like the point of no return. But just remember, we measured carefully, right? So we can drill with total confidence. We're going to be making two key cuts here. First, we'll use that hole saw attachment to drill the big face hole. That's for the main body of the lock. Then we'll switch to a smaller drill bit to make the edge hole, which is where the latch itself is going to live. All right, listen up, because this is probably the single best tip for this entire stage. To avoid tearing up the wood and getting ugly splinters, don't try to drill all the way through from one side. Instead, drill about halfway through and then stop. Go to the other side of the door and finish the hole from there to meet in the middle. The result? A perfectly clean cut every time. The holes are drilled, the sawdust is all settled, and now it's time for the really satisfying part, actually assembling the lock. Let's see this thing start to take shape. And honestly, this is a pretty simple two-step dance. First, you just slide that latch assembly into the hole on the edge of the door and screw it into place. Second, you slide the main lock cylinders right through that big face hole, connecting the two sides together. So the lock is physically in the door, but we are not done yet. A lock is really only as strong as the thing it's locking into. That's why this final step, getting the strike plate installed on the door frame, is so incredibly important. So what in the world is a strike plate? Well, it's simply that little metal plate that goes on the door frame. Its whole job is to catch the bolt from the lock when you close the door, and that's what actually secures it shut. To get this lined up perfectly, you'll want to close the door and mark exactly where that latch hits the frame. Now you might need to use a chisel to carve out a shallow little recess so the plate can sit nice and flush. After that, it's as simple as drilling some pilot holes and screwing it in tight. Now hold on. Here is a massive security tip. The little screws that come in the box, they are usually okay. But you can make your lock so much stronger if you use 3-inch screws instead. And why is that? Because those long screws will go right past the flimsy door frame and anchor directly into the solid wall studs behind it. And that's it. Everything's installed, the tools are put away. Now for the moment of truth. Let's see how we did. Here is your final checklist. First, with the door still open, try the key. Does it turn smoothly? Good. Now close the door. Does that latch click into place cleanly without sticking or rubbing? And make sure you test it from both the inside and the outside. And hey, if something feels a little off, maybe it's a bit stiff or it doesn't quite catch right, don't panic. It's almost always a tiny alignment issue. Try making a very small adjustment to the strike plate's position, or sometimes even just tightening the screws on the door's hinges can fix it. So there you have it. Installing a new lock is a totally achievable DIY project, and it gives you a real sense of accomplishment. But as we've seen, it really does demand some precision. So the question for you is, are you ready to make this your next weekend project? Or is this a job for the pros? Either way you go, your home is going to be more secure.